tuned for Airgun Detectives.
Welcome to another episode of Airgun Detectives. I'm your host, JC. Today, we get to take the mystery out of the JTS BRAWN Bullpup. And we'll get into all the details in just a minute. But before we get started here, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button down in the corner. It doesn't cost you anything. It's absolutely free, but it really does help support the channel. Also, check out my website at www.airgundetectives.com. On that site, I've got my Generation 2 bipods. I got t-shirts, I've got hats, you Gammo shooters, guys that have the Gammo brake barrels with the SAT and CAT triggers. I've got the trigger screw kits. They will change the whole dynamics of that rifle and give you a match style trigger for a very, very inexpensive investment, that's for sure. Also check on my inventory. I do recycle occasionally some of my air guns there. I usually have one of a kind. When they're gone, and they do not last, so just randomly check on that. All right, let's get back to JTS's newest rifle. This is a Bullpup. And if you guys don't know what a Bullpup is, it's basically a compact rifle. What you do is it still has a full-length barrel. In fact, this one has a little over 17-inch barrel. But what they do is they move the breech in the chamber towards the rear here, towards the back. And then they use a linkage with the trigger to work its way to the breech. So you're still getting that full-size barrel. It's just a compact rifle, and that's your Bullpup. All right, this Bullpup PCP rifle, pre-charged pneumatic, it comes in 4 calibers. It comes in .177, .22, .25, and .30, 30 caliber. This one here that we're going to test today is the 25 caliber. It is a side cocking mechanism, so you guys can see this. Simple process to shoot. It can be decocked. Just put a little pressure on that, take the safety off, let it slowly come forward. There you go. Side cocking comes with 2 metal magazines. These are amazing metal magazines. They are, again, all metal, and these are actually my favorite type of magazines, because you basically drop a pellet in and then just rotate it and add your next. Rotate it, add your next, that's it. You don't have to move a slide around, nothing. And they're easy to top off, so you can always top them off without having to unload them and start over again. So it comes with 2 of these metal magazines, which is fantastic. Yeah, this rifle is all metal, including the Picatinny rail. You won't find any plastic on this at all. The trigger's metal, trigger guard's metal, all of it. This is all metal. It does have a little bit of weight. It's 9.3 pounds without the scope, and you are going to have to supply yourself with a scope because there's no open sights on this. It's 33 inches overall, and again, as I mentioned, it has a 17-inch barrel. The fill pressure on this, it's 3,200 psi or 220 bar. Again, the scope mount here, as you can see, this is like a Picatinny rail, but it's all metal. Now, the trigger on this, it's a 2-stage adjustable trigger, and I will show you at the end how you adjust that. They say this will average about 860 feet per second. Well, we're going to go out and test it. We're going to run it through our usual gamut. We're going to have fun with this one. It's a good-looking gun. I mean, this wood stock is just amazing. Also, this is a regulated rifle, and with the regulated rifle, you've got both the pressure. Let me move this out of the way so you guys can see this. You've got your pressure gauge right off here to the left, if you can see that, right here. Let's see, can we get that in there? Yeah, right there. That's your pressure gauge. And then you have your regulated pressure right here. So you have a gauge for each. And what's kind of nice about this gauge off to the side, it's not on the front. We don't have to look down the barrel or near the barrel to see what your pressure is. You can just kind of glance up there and see where you're at, which is pretty nice. Again, solid hardwood stock. I mean, it's beautiful if you look at that. It really is. It's a beautiful stock. Anyway, let's put this back up here. What do these guns run? Well, you can find them now right around that $400 mark, just so you know. Right around $400. But let's see what you get for your 400 bucks. Let's go out and test this, and then we'll come back and talk about it. So stay tuned for the next segment. All right, let's test out our BRAWN for some velocity. We're going to shoot the two best pellets that are in this. Not overly pellet picky rifle, but the two best pellets, seriously. The JTS, of course, how appropriate. The JCF dead center's at 25.39. And then I'm going to tell you how well it did with another pellet. But let's just do this first. We're going to shoot 5 shots. We'll average it out over the Crony. All right. Let's see. Shot number 1. 858. Shot number 2. 869. Shot number 3. 875. Shot number 4. 871. One more shot. 869. Not bad standard deviation. Anyway, you check out the average velocity there and your foot-pounds of energy. And keep in mind, we have this set at, it's 2,000 PSI. That's where we have the regulator set. So 2,000 PSI. Okay, the other pellet that did really well was the 29.32 grain JTS pellet. And that averaged about 815 feet per second, but it also gave us a whopping 43.4 foot-pounds of energy. So you're definitely getting some, good foot-pounds out of that one. The rifle itself, oh my God, is it quiet? If you guys, I don't know, you can't really notice that, but you see the DV reader, and it is definitely quiet and backyard friendly. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next segment. All right, let's test out our Brawn for some accuracy here. We're actually going to shoot 2 pellets. I'm going to do 2 separate targets for you guys. I kind of like to show you a little bit of variety here. Okay, we're going to shoot for the first 5 rounds. We're going to do the 25.39 grain pellets. These are by JTS. Okay, so we're going to do 5 shots on one target. After we complete that, we're going to do another 5 shots with the 29.32 grain, almost a 30 grain pellet. These are by far the best performing pellets. I shot slugs in this. They did okay. They didn't do fantastic. They just did okay. But these pellets are just amazing. So I wanted to show you guys the difference with the 2 weights. We're exactly 42 yards back. We're going to use the 4-inch splatterburst. I like the impact point. I'll leave you guys information because these are just cool targets to have overall. But anyway, again, we're at exactly 42 yards back. Go ahead, check that out real quick. You can see what we're shooting at. Those are going to be our 2 targets. All right, so let's start out again with the 25.39 grain. We're going to do 5 shots. And remember, guys, we're going on grouping here. So if they don't all hit in the red, that's okay. That's okay, because we're going to go for grouping. So we're going to do 5 shots again, and then we're going to switch to the other target. All right, let me dial in the focus here just a little bit. There we go. Oh yeah, now that's a good target. All right, 5 shots. 5 shots. That's 1. And 2. And 3. 4. 1 more. 5. Now that group, that's tough to beat. I have to say, that is tough to beat. It really is. Okay, but let's go to another target, and we will shoot the 29.32 grain pellets. These are a little bit heavier pellet. I'm going to aim dead center once again. And we'll see how well we do on the new target. All right. Shot number 1. Can't complain about that. Shot number 2. Number 3. And number 5. Whoa. Wow. Just wow. This thing is so accurate. And I have to say, yeah, both those targets look very, very similar. I mean, you guys obviously on the screen will see the official measurements there, but they look really similar as far as group size go. But yeah, no complaints on this whatsoever. That's just outstanding groups on that, that's for sure. All right, so that's your Brawn in action as far as accuracy goes, 42 yards. Let's go ahead and move on to the next segment. Okay, let's test out our Brawn as far as the pull weight goes on the trigger. These are adjustable trigger, however, they're not quite as what is described in the manual. It's a little bit different, but I'm going to show you that at the end of the video. It's no big deal. All right, so we got our trusty Lyman trigger gauge here. We're all reset. Let's just see what type of pull weight we got. £2, 2.1 ounce. 2 pounds, 2.1 ounce. Yeah, pretty cool trigger. There is some adjustment, as I said. I'll cover that towards the end. But nice triggers, they really are. Nice triggers. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next segment. All right, let's do a little plinking here with our Brawn. And we're usual distance, we're usual 40, a little over 40 yards out. Go ahead and check that out real quick. You can see we've got a ram there. We've got some steel eggs, a little chicken, and a shotgun shell. We're going to try to take all those out. We're going to be using the JTS dead centers. These are going to be the 29.32 grain pellet. They're a little heavier. We got a little distance. We've got steel targets. I want to see how the bigger pellet does on the impact. I want you guys to see if you can hear that, because this thing does hit hard. That's for sure. All right, let's see if we can take these guys out. Let's start. I want to start with the shotgun shell. Yeah, let's start with the shotgun shell. There you go. All right, now we'll move over to the right side. Start with that first egg. Ooh, that sound is just awesome. All right, second egg. Definitely has an impact there. Let's eliminate that little teeny chicken. Next egg. Man, look at those things jump. All right. Nothing like a headshot and a ram. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, this definitely has the accuracy. There's just no question about it. And especially, you can feel that foot-pounds of energy hitting those steel plates. You really can. All right, let's move on to the next segment. We'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. All right, let's wrap this up with our conclusion. Wow, what a fantastic rifle. Before I get into some of that, I also want to remind you guys where you fill this thing. This has a Foster fillet fitting. You just unscrew this. Cap comes off, nice, all solid metal. And there's your Foster fitting, which you would put your either your tank or your pump, whatever you're going to use to fill this thing up. And they also do, by the way, JTS does. Let me tell you guys something. A PCP rifle, it's not if it leaks, it's when it's going to leak. They all leak at some point because seals just wear out. Well, they thought of that, and they give you a whole package of seals. So if you had any issues with them in the future. And I've had quite a few JTS rifles, and I really have not had any issues with them whatsoever. And this one's been fantastic, and I've shot it quite a few times. I can tell you that right now. All right, but let's get into the negatives. My only negative, and you guys know how picky I am, I've got one. This thing is heavy. You put a scope on this thing, and you're 11 pounds probably right around there. But the gun without the scope is 9.3 pounds, so it's a little bit heavy. Keeping that in mind, let's move on to the positives, because a little bit of weight, hey, it's a little extra workout. You're lugging this thing around. So positives, let's talk about the positives. The fit and finish on this rifle is fantastic. I mean, you just look at the wood on the stock, it's absolutely gorgeous. It really is. So you got a beautiful wood stock, and then your entire rifle is all metal. It's so solid. The straps on it are metal. The scope rail is metal. Your shroud, your tank, obviously that's all metal. Your trigger guard, it's all metal. It really is. Besides the looks and the solid build, because it is an unbelievably solid build, this thing had incredible accuracy. You guys saw my targets, just a quick reminder here. They're amazing. This thing just stacks pellets. At 40 yards, it was stacking pellets. And very, very smooth shooter. The trigger, you guys saw when I tested it, it's right around 2 pounds. Also, to adjust this trigger, the manual shows that you can adjust it with the stock on, and there's a couple of adjustment screws. That's not with the Bullpup. This Bullpup, you actually have to take the stock off. There's only one screw on it. You undo that screw, and then it exposes the trigger assembly. Obviously, you're not even going to mess with the trigger. You're going to go back here to the breech. You're going to see where the linkage is. Here's a photo of it. There's one screw, and that one screw is your sear engagement. So if you screw it down farther, you're going to get a little bit lighter trigger. You back it off, it's going to be a little heavier trigger, and that's your adjustment. It's very, very simple. But yeah, you guys can check out these photos I have there. So yeah, so the trigger, I mean, I like the trigger. Once I dialed that sucker in, this thing was really nice, right around 2 pounds, as I was saying. Okay, the performance on this gun overall was just outstanding. But what do I do always for you guys with a PCP? I charted it. So check out the chart here. Okay, so we've got this whole thing laid out from our top fill, which is our 3200 PSI fill. We show you the regulated portion of when you're shooting this. Okay, so you're going to get anywhere between 35 to 38. We got 38, but you're going to get anywhere from 35 to 38 regulated shots. And we averaged 868 feet per second. And that produced a little over 46.5 foot-pounds of energy. Not too shabby. Now, if you wanted to shoot it off the regulator, yeah, you could probably get close to 50 shots out of it and shoot it down to about 1100 PSI. But you guys can see in the chart here how it drastically drops off when it comes off that regulator. So this regulator is set at about 2000 PSI. So again, you're going to get anywhere between 35 and 38 regulated shots here in the 25 caliber. And these magazines, by the way, these are 10 round. I forgot to tell you that. They're 10 round magazines. So you get two 10 round magazines. So, you know what I've noticed a lot of these JTS rifles? The consistency with accuracy. These are some of the most accurate rifles they are in comparison to some of these high ends at a really, really unbelievably fair price. It really is. So the price point on this rifle is right around that $400 mark. You're getting a lot of rifle for $400. You really are. And I like the fact that you're at a 3200 PSI fill. I always like the lower fills, around 3000, 3200. They're just so much easier to deal with. You can use conventional scuba tanks. Those guys either are crazy enough to hand pump them. You can hand pump these too. But how would I rate this gun overall? Well, you have tremendous accuracy. You've got a tremendous shot count. You really do for this. And the build quality of this rifle is just outstanding. So this rifle in front of me right now, I'm going to give it 5 stars. This is a 5-star rifle. Again, paying $400 and getting this much rifle, that's a heck of a deal. It really is. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Airgun Detectives. Don't forget, this is where we take the mystery out of the airgun. I hope you and your families are getting lots of shooting in and you're just doing well overall. So until next time, take care and God bless.